that trade their bodies to go and get the role. They get to the point where they have their Oscar, they have their money, but they don't have their dream. They don't have the soul that they started with. So it's like achieving don't mean anything. If I get all the Nobel Prizes from doing all of this, but in the process I have to trade out all of my integrity to do it so that they can stay in place, what benefit is that if I lose my integrity? You got to go in as a principal.
Let's be honest, how many men today are really standing by their morals and principles, especially in a place like Hollywood where fame can make people do anything? It's like finding a needle in a haystack to meet a man who hasn't compromised himself just to make it big in the entertainment industry. People are saying that it's rare to find someone who hasn't sold their soul just to get a piece of the Hollywood spotlight. That's why Terrence Howard is trending so hard online. People are shocked that he reached the top without getting caught up in the messy side of the business. He even claimed that he turned down Diddy, who allegedly tried to make an inappropriate move on him. What's really setting the internet on fire is how Diddy allegedly approached him. It's the same way he's reportedly done with other people in the industry. Fans are connecting the dots and saying this isn't a one-time thing. Diddy's behavior is being labeled as a pattern, and people are just stunned by it all. So now, let's dive deeper into the situation and break down what really went down between Terrence Howard and Diddy.
He invited me for weeks, asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. Go there and he's sitting around just looking. I'm like, okay, what's the material you want to work on? He's just looking at it. Then next thing you know, okay, hey, will you help me? I want to hear your music. So I come over there and I play the music. He's sitting there, just looking at it, like waiting. Okay. So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to. That's what my assistant.
Now, just to be clear, Terrence Howard never directly said it happened, but he did imply something went down, and honestly, even if we're not sure it's 100% true, the way things played out does seem off. Think about it. A man randomly asking another man to hang out, without them even being friends, with no business reason or contract involved. It just sounds odd, especially when it's coming from someone powerful like Diddy. It gave off the same kind of vibe as a guy trying to ask a girl out, and people on the internet found it very suspicious. That's why more folks are starting to believe Terrence's story. And to back him up, others have brought up similar experiences, like when 50 Cent talked about Diddy making weird offers to him too, inviting him to parties and even offering to take him shopping. When you see the same pattern happening with more than one person, it becomes harder to brush off as just a misunderstanding. It makes you wonder what Diddy's real intentions were in all these situations.
He says things, he doesn't even know what he's saying is like fruity. He says something fabulous and he goes, yo, no, but me and you, we ain't party. Like, we need to party. What are you talking about? And when people say that to me, I get a little uncomfortable. Like, when you see Jadakiss put his head down, like, while we stuck here right now, and the cameras is rolling, everybody see, don't make like it's just me, man. Fluffy do some like a little fluffy stuff
now
going
you guys
on. Like he said something to me one time, a long time ago. He told me he'd take me shopping. I looked at him like, what'd you just say? Let me move, man, before I do something. You gonna make me mess up the wedding. Let me get out of no, dude, you take me, that's what a guy says to a girl.
But here's the deeper question. How many men in the industry would be strong enough to say no if they hadn't already made it big? Both Terrence Howard and 50 Cent were already doing well for themselves when Diddy allegedly approached them, so maybe that made it easier for them to turn him down. But what about the ones who are still struggling, trying to get out of poverty, and looking for a break? That's when people are most vulnerable. Take The Game, for example. He grew up in a rough area, surrounded by crime and gang activity, and had a hard life before music. In 2001, he got serious about his rap career and dropped a mixtape that somehow made its way to Diddy. That's when Diddy reached out. Not just offering a record deal, but also pulling the game into a world full of parties, expensive gifts, and luxury. Instead of getting right down to business, Diddy reportedly showed him the high life first. And when you come from nothing, that lifestyle can be very tempting. Sometimes, people ignore the warning signs because they're just so focused on escaping their hardships. It's easy to see why some might fall into situations they wouldn't normally accept.
Wasn't Puffy interested in working with you also?
Yeah, Puff. I was running around with Puff for a minute, but we was just partying, man. Puff liked to party, so that's basically all we did. I think the few times I was running around with D-Mac and Puff, we just did a bunch of partying. We might have went to the studio once or twice, but I didn't get to record nothing. I was just,
At this point, the internet seems to really believe what Terrence Howard is saying. People are starting to think that Diddy used his money and power in the wrong way, targeting young, talented people who were just trying to make a name for themselves. Terrence also talked about something else very serious. He said that some people who went through these experiences turned to drugs and alcohol to cope. They felt so broken or confused by what happened that they needed something to numb the pain. He said they lost touch with who they really are mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. Healing from something like that isn't easy at all. He specifically pointed out that these people were the ones who had gone to Diddy's parties. That's a heavy claim. He even mentioned Justin Bieber as an example. Terrence didn't say Justin chose to be part of anything bad, but he pointed out that Bieber was allegedly underage when he attended Diddy's parties, and that luxurious gifts were used to pull him into Diddy's circle. When you look at how Justin has acted over the years, some fans think it all lines up with what Terrence is describing. It paints a sad picture of what might have been going on behind the scenes.
But when you give up your manhood, I've never seen somebody recover from it. That was all the people that went to the Puffy parties. That was all the people that did all those things thinking that there was never going to be a consequence for what they were doing. Get punked out and pimped out by some greater desire. You shouldn't have a greater desire than being a man. So I believe that's a big problem with a lot of the actors out there because they get fluid. And next thing you know, once you go fluid, it's gone. You don't have any foundation to pull yourself back from. So maintain your man card, no matter what.
So you see some guys struggling with that. You see Bieber struggling with that. You see some of these guys struggling with that.
They can't get it out of their head. They can't get it out of their head. The things that they did, no matter how they did it, whether they were drunk or high or whatever, you gave up your man card. You need therapy. And that's the thing that hurts them the most. And so they end up every way to try and get rid of any principles there are, and that's what the business.
This whole story is just a huge mess. Based on what's being said online, Diddy is being painted as someone who used his wealth and fame to control or pressure young stars who are desperate for success. It's like he had a grip on everyone trying to rise in the industry. One fan online said, "I think Diddy tried to bend everyone over," which pretty much sums up how a lot of people are feeling. But on the flip side, many are praising Terrence Howard for being different, for staying true to himself and not giving in just for fame or awards. One fan commented, "For the first time on the internet, I feel like I've seen a real man who kept his morals and didn't sell out. I'm a fan now."
So, what do you think?
Is Terrence telling the truth about what happened? Did Diddy really try to pressure him into something inappropriate? And is it true that Diddy used his status and wealth to pull in other up-and-coming talents into questionable situations? Let's talk about it. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Like and comment on this video and subscribe this channel for next video update.